Hello Ford Focus fans. We've got our Ford Focus RS here on the dyno. I don't know if you saw earlier, but Cobb has released the access port to the public. While it has a nice Stage 1 tune on it from the factory, that's not going to cut it, so we're here doing some custom tuning on it. So this is our frozen white Ford Focus RS. It's got the RS2 package, which is basically what I think almost all the cars have. It's pretty well optioned. It's got the Recaro seats, heated mirrors, moonroof, got the optional 19-inch wheels with the Michelin tires on it. So you'll notice that the rear wheels are not on the roller. Now obviously this is an all-wheel drive car, so you're probably wondering what's going on here. Well, the story is these cars don't have a center differential like other all-wheel drive cars. Instead, they've got an electronically controlled clutch pack that sends power to the rear wheels, called a RDU, rear drive unit. So the best way to dyno the car is to disconnect it and run it in front-wheel drive. It's simple to do. You know, it sounds like, oh, it's going to make more power, but you know, when you're comparing numbers to numbers, it really doesn't matter because we did our baseline dyno. We made 293 wheel horsepower in the front-wheel drive mode. So we've been working on it for only a couple hours, so let's see what it'll do. I'm going to turn on the fans. It's going to get loud in here, but let's give it a run. Turn off these obnoxious fans. So everyone's commenting, of course, on why is it only turning the front wheels. As I mentioned in the beginning of the feed, the RS does not have a center differential like an all-wheel drive car normally does. It's got an electronically controlled clutch pack that sends power to the rear wheels. It's called a rear drive unit, or RDU. So the best way to dyno these cars actually is disconnect the rear wheels and do it in front wheel drive. It really doesn't matter because we're getting power numbers as front wheel drive compared to power numbers as front wheel drive, so it really does not skew the numbers at all. So we just ran the car. And as you see, we're gaining probably about 48 wheel horsepower, and this is with a tune and our air filter. The air filter picked up, depending on the area, about 10 to 15 wheel horsepower up top. But what's really crazy is the big power gains in the mid-range. We're seeing over 60 wheel horsepower in the mid-range. Now peak is seeing about 48 wheel horsepower, but you know, peak numbers don't really mean all that much. It's really the mid-range is where you're really going to pick up a lot of power. So with just a couple hours custom tuning this thing on the dyno and our air filter, we're already up, you know, over 60 wheel horsepower in most of the areas. So we're really excited about this car. The engineering team is going to be tearing the car apart on Monday. We've got plans for a carbon fiber air intake, titanium exhaust, downpipe. We've got a really slick Garrett bolt-in GTX turbocharger upgrade. Now, what's going to be beautiful about this is you're going to be, if you buy the downpipe that we're going to come out with, exhaust, intercooler, all of that, and you want to upgrade the turbo down the road, all you're going to have to do is buy this turbo upgrade. You're not going to have to redo anything else. It's just going to bolt in. You'll be able to use the exhaust, the downpipe, everything. It's going to be totally modular. So I think it's really going to be a game changer. Usually when you've got an upgraded turbo, it involves a different exhaust manifold, different downpipe, and it just gets really, really expensive. And then it's really kind of sucks that you have to buy parts twice. So that's we've gone into it with that idea in mind, is not to have to do that. So we're going to be continuing on with the tuning. You know, those are just the initial numbers. It's over 90 degrees in the dyno here, so it's not optimal conditions, that's for sure. So thanks for tuning in. We'll be giving you some updates later next week, and we'll hopefully on Monday or Tuesday we'll have our air filter up for sale. And like I said earlier, we picked up 10 to 15 wheel horsepower in the mid-range on this, so I mean that's pretty serious. And if you look at the tune and the air filter, almost 50 wheel horsepower at peak and over 60 wheel horsepower mid-range. I mean, this car is really unbelievable. We're almost at 400 pound-feet of torque. Man, this whole place is abuzz about this car. So stay tuned next week for the release of the air filter and more updates as we continue on with the Ford Focus RS development. Have a great weekend, guys.